Welcome to the second edition of the Solstice Mead. My name is Darren, and I am your host. In the first video, I was going to say the last, but it was my first video. I indicated that I introduced myself and indicated that was going to be my second video. Was going to be some tips and tricks on how to get started and how to save a lot of money. And in that respect, nothing major. I think everybody, once I say it, you'll realize, oh yeah, right? That light will go off for you. So home brewing has been a fairly consistent craze for the last several years. Lots of home brewers, micro brewers coming up all the time, primarily for beer, right? But if you're going to do wine or mead, the equipment is the same. And you'd be surprised at how many people get into home brewing and do it once and then never do it again. And the reason for that is it's expensive. Some of this equipment is quite expensive, and you'll see that shortly. And it's time consuming. And the amount that you can do at any one given time can sometimes be pretty small, especially when you're starting off and you're trying to experiment. You're trying to figure out just exactly what kind, especially with beer. Beer is can be very tricky, and especially with beer, it never comes out the way that what you buy at the store. It just doesn't. Especially your first time, your fifth time, your 10th time. It takes a while to figure out those little bitty tricks to get a consistent, flavorful product. And people give up real easy. It's that day and age. People want a quick fix, and if it doesn't work right away, if they're not like a master brewer on their first try, they're done. So what I did was I spent a total of $50 so far. Not including, there's a couple of items that I'll talk about later that I went ahead and got retail for a couple of reasons, and I'll explain. But I paid $50. I went and I looked at, you'd be surprised, I went and looked at Facebook Markets. I went and looked at Craigslist. And if you're familiar with Nextdoor, it's an app that connects you with, typically people within, like, say, a half-mile radius of wherever you live. Essentially, you have to sign up for the app. You have to tell them where you live. They send you a postcard that has a code on it, and you use that to actually authenticate yourself to that address. And then you can, it's people complaining about things going on in the neighborhood, but it also gives you a lot of really great information about things that are going on in your neighborhood. And then there's also people selling stuff on there, or recommending things to, I had a great experience with this guy that cuts my lawn. Okay, fine, I go hire the guy too, right? That kind of stuff. But Nextdoor, Facebook Markets, and Craigslist. It's people who are trying to get rid of stuff that they tried, like I said, tried once and it didn't work out for them, and they stuck it in the closet and they haven't looked at it since. Now they're probably moving or trying to clear out space for the new baby, so they're clearing out a room or whatever. They've come across this stuff from who knows how long ago, and they're like, maybe I can get a few bucks for it online. They don't remember how much it cost. I'm going to tell you right now how much this stuff costs. So I'm going to pull up some items here, and you can see some of them over here off in the distance here in the corner. But I'm going to try to give you, I'm going to lay it out on the table, and I may not have enough room. I'm probably going to have to move some stuff off because it's a lot of stuff. But I'm going to give you a list somewhere over here in the window. I'm going to show you what the retail cost of some of this stuff is and just how much money I saved. So again, I did 2 transactions, $25, $25, and this is what I got. So let's go. So first and foremost, This is a Northern Brewer company. It's a shows 5 gallons, so technically it can actually do. I think it's a 6.5 gallon bucket. You would want to use this for a 5 gallon must. That way you have plenty of room between your 5 gallon mark and the top for fermentation foam, which can happen when you finally get your fermentation going real good. That kind of stuff can actually foam up, and if you were to use one of these, which as you can see is a 5 gallon carboy. This is plastic, and you can see that, you know, Rogue Nation, Dare, Risk, Dream. These typically retail, I believe, for $30 alone. This, because it has the spigot on it, this with the lid, of course, retails for, I believe, 40 or 45. So I'm already looking at 70 something dollars on the table. It also came with $2, $3. Doesn't matter. It's still free, right? This came with this particular purchase. Set this back in here. Oh, you'll also notice already has the temperature strips on it. Already has the temperature strips, which is fantastic because I do have a thermometer in this room. This is where I plan to do my brewing, and letting it do both my primary and my secondary fermentation will happen in this room. This is my office. And I apologize, I am stacked in a corner here. I have very little room for myself and all this stuff. I plan to try to rearrange and get a better setup for later. But so yeah, so this already has the temperature strip on it, and you can see down here. I'm not sure that you guys can see it, but it's cranking. We're currently at about between 70 and 72 degrees according to the strip. So the great part about this is once we get a must in here, I'll be able to simply look at this and determine that we are at a good temperature for the yeast to be doing their job. And again, I can look at this one, same thing, 70 to 72. We're in the same range, so they're real accurate. I know that I looked at my thermometer over there before I started this video, and it too is showing about 70, 71 degrees. So real good, solid strips there. Real happy about those. So let's see, what else came with that. I believe this racking tube, this bottle brush came with it. And this bad boy, this is a 6 gallon glass carboy. Fantastic. This thing runs $40, $45 retail. This entire, so now I'm looking at 35, 40, 40 to 50, 40, 45, so 70, 80, like $120. Now I'm not even gonna bother with the racking cane. It's what, $3, $4, what, maybe, if that. Brush, you know, what, $2, $3, don't care. We're looking at about $120, $125 of stuff. I paid $25, all because I was patient and I looked on, again, Facebook Markets, I looked on Craigslist, and I looked on Neighborhood. I'm sorry, Nextdoor. I looked on Nextdoor, the app. All of this for $25. I just had to wait around. It took a couple of weeks to track them, to find them, and you know, you got to contact the knuckleheads. Set up a time to go meet them. You need to look at the stuff, right? Make sure that you're getting quality stuff. It's all solid, not broken. This stuff is dirty, right? So I'm definitely gonna have some fun with. You can probably see that right in here. That's inside. whatever that is that's on the inside of this. So I'm gonna need to definitely take a good soak in some bleach, nasty corrosive chemicals, whatever, to clean the insides. And of course I'll use some Star San at the very end to sanitize. But yeah, so all of that for 25 bucks. And actually, you know what? I apologize. I believe actually I think that is it. So the next time, the next one I went out after, saw this guy. He was selling. He had mentioned that he was doing beer, had done beer, and was selling his equipment. Again, I think he was asking $30. I came to him with $25. I met him literally on a street corner in downtown Kansas City. I parked my car on one side. I ran across the road to his car. He popped the trunk. I look in there, and he's got a box of stuff, and he's like, "Good luck, guy." So what I got from him was another 6.5 gallon with a lid, a nice screw-on lid, and I even checked with a really good ring on the inside to seal it, real good. So that's the first piece. This is also has a spot for a tap, so I am going to need to get one of those to seal that up. But that's a fantastic bucket, pre-drilled, the whole 9 yards, for fermenting in. So I got this. Is a get that hydrometer. Fantastic. That's like between $10 and $15 itself. I also got this one. Again, that's a fantastic little thermometer for submerging or hanging in your fluids so that you can get a solid temperature off it. This I might need to use for this on occasion because it doesn't have, but I'm going to definitely go ahead and simply, I think these are like $3 or $5 for 2 or 3 of them, I think. So I'm definitely going to get some more of these strips to take care of this here. But a thermometer, which again is, I think, either $8.99 or $9.99, I believe is what that is. It came with some basic A sanitizer. It's just a powder form of sanitizer. It works just like Star San. The only reason I would use this is because this is actually still sealed, or maybe not. I just had some of it come off on me when I opened it. It looks like it's sealed. I'll have to look at it. If it is not, then I probably won't use it. I'll probably throw it away. The reason for that is because I bought this third party off of the interwebs, and while I trust the guy to sell me a bucket to brew in, I just don't know that I'm going to trust that there's not something else that's already mixed into this sanitization powder. So yeah, if that's actually been opened at all, I won't be using this. But still, that's again like $10. Got a clip for, actually maybe this racking came with this, because this actually clips to hold the other way around. This clips onto the racking cane. It can also clip to your auto siphon, and then goes inside so that you can get it to just above the nastiness at the bottom when you're ready to rack off. So maybe that came with that. What else came in there? Oh, this is like a $25 item. It looks like a crazy ass mechanical spider, but what this is a bottler. This actually, you place the cap in here, fill a like a beer bottle, whatever, and then you use this to squeeze down it and place that cap onto a beer bottle. This is like 25 bucks. It came with yet more. Oh, here's my spigot. So I already have a spigot for this one. I'm good to go. This is a sealed package. This is still factory sealed. I don't know if you can see that, but the factory seal is still actually on this package, and there are 2 bubblers, a spigot for this bucket, a bung for it'll go in either one of these. This bung will, and then I've also got I've already got a seal for the top of this or the top of this. So this will actually that seal goes onto the tube, and then that pushes down in there to keep it a nice tight seal so that no oxygenation happens. But yeah, this is like what, 3, 6? I think this is like $5 or $6. So you're looking at like roughly $10, maybe $12 worth of equipment that is perfectly it's factory sealed. Amazing. I bought a spoon. It was like $1, I think $1.50 for a stainless steel 18-inch spoon. I figured, what the hell, I'm gonna need one, and I figured I'd go ahead and get it while I was on Amazon looking at stuff. My wife wanted me to buy some stuff for her, and I don't know why this popped up in my, like, maybe you might want to buy this. I think probably because I was pricing out all of this stuff. But anyway, like $1.50. But I purchased this retail, so 99 cents. Just a turkey baster. A lot of people are gonna may say that you need a wine thief, which is looks very similar to a to an auto siphon. It also looks, some of them actually look just like this, only it's much thinner, longer. They're called wine thieves, and the whole point of it is that you use it to pull some of your must out, or your wine after the fact, to put it into one of these. So you would use the turkey baster to pull some and drop it into here, and then you would use your hydrometer to drop it in there and let it float so you can get your specific gravity reading. So both of these were purchased retail. It was just easier, faster. I did get a book, which on the back of this, where is it, $15.99 US. Brand new book. None of the pages are are earmarked, or there's no notes in here, no nothing. It's like the guy bought it and then just never bothered to pull it out. But it's The Complete Joy of Home Brewing, fully revised and updated, 3rd edition. So I'm definitely gonna give it a peruse. It's probably primarily beer related, but there's gonna be good tips. Yeah, malted barley and malt extract. But there's going to be good tips for just general setups, maybe tips for racking and whatnot. So what the heck? But hey, $16, right? There are 8 1-liter plastic bottles in here for bottling. Brand new, never opened. The package is still closed tight. Those can easily be sanitized on a bottle tree. And I think they retail, I want to say the retail was like $9 or $10. Wait, there's more. There's a small amount of tubing. Again, can be sanitized. I'm not too worried about it. I'll run some bleach or something through there first to really kill anything and clean it, and then before I use it at all, this will get a soak in Star San. The other thing I got was this 12-piece. Can you see it? The table's getting crowded. I apologize. It's a 12-piece Yorkshire craft beer brew kit. And while the packaging looks a little busted up, it looks like he got into it, but none of it's used. It is a full, I mean, these are still sealed. Another bubbler and some accessories for holding some tubing in place. There's some more tubing in a 1-gallon glass carboy in here. I even have some yeast going here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. This is not yeast. This is some type of sanitizer. But still, sanitizer. I've got a thermometer that is still packaged up. I've got the racking cane is still there. And the malt, the barley, all of the stuff that you would use to make a wort for beer, it's all still in the package. He never even opened it. There's my yeast. Anyway, oh yeah, never even opened this thing. Craziness. This thing, I think I tried to price this out, and I want to say that again, this is like $40, I think. So fantastic find. It even has the instructions in here on how to do it all. And whatever the hell this is. Oh, that's no. Anyway, so yeah, a full beer kit, $40. And again, I paid this guy $25. Crazy. I'm gonna try to put some of this back in here the way it was, so that it all actually fits in here. It closes. That is not the tubing that goes in there. That's the tubing that goes in there. So yeah, insane how much crap I got. But wait, there's more. Did not want to. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. The last thing that I have here is from the vintage shop. Again, this was in with everything, just in a box of stuff. And again, another carboy. This looks to be a 3-gallon. No, 5 US gallon plastic carboy. So wow, seems a bit smaller. So this may be a true 5-gallon carboy that I'll want to do. Maybe only like 3.5, 4 gallons in. Maybe get it up to here, so that you have room for that. Like I said, this thing's gonna foam up a bit when it starts to ferment. When that yeast starts to get crazy, it's gonna cause a lot of bubbles and some froth at the top. And if you're not careful, if you don't leave yourself enough headroom, it'll actually come up out of your bubbler. So you want to be careful of your airlock. But yeah, again, this is probably 25, something like that. So again, what was it, 120, 130 on this side? $25. This was all in one big ass box that I got from him. I didn't have a whole lot of time because we were on the street. I literally was like, yep, that looks like brewing equipment, cool. Here's the money, and I grabbed the box and hauled it back to my Jeep because I didn't want to slow up traffic. Plus, my wife was in the car and she was a little irritated that I was taking a detour to pick up equipment. So what? 40, 50, 60, 70, 110, 135. 140, 150. So altogether, something like 275, maybe 300 with like tax and whatever else, but $50, people. $50. It took me a couple of weeks to just biding my time, doing searches for brewing, for home brewing equipment, and I found people who were disenfranchised with the products they were able to make. So that was fantastic. Now, a lot of this needs to be cleaned. All of it needs to be cleaned, big time. Some of this stuff was sitting in this stuff was sitting in the guy's garage and/or attic for several years. He hadn't brewed in quite some time. I don't know what got him to go ahead and start selling it off now, but his lost my game. So this stuff's definitely going to need to be cleaned big time, and I will get on that here shortly. Today is October 4th of 2019. It's been pretty cool recently, and I think it's going to stay that way, unfortunately. Kansas City, it gets cooler faster than I'm used to. I'm from Texas, where we have we can have 85-degree weather on Christmas Day. So yeah, as far as Texas is concerned, it's still summertime down there. But so I'm gonna get some of this stuff off of. But seriously, all you got to do is look for it. Be patient. The deals, your mileage will vary, right? I think I happen to get some really fantastic deals. I feel very happy with my purchases, and I hope you will too when you decide to get yours. Some of the things that I bought retail. Star San. You won't be able to do anything without this or something similar to it. And again, the reason I bought this retail, even if I had found some of this in either one of these purchases, it's just me, I'm paranoid, but I don't know if this was something that was used, right? And let's say it was only half full, and I'd gotten it in one of these kits, in one of these purchases, I would not feel comfortable using it, and here's why. I don't know how the other person treated this. I don't know how careful they were about cross-contamination. I don't know where they stored it or how they stored it, if they store this stuff at an extremely high temperature, like if it had been with this stuff in an attic or a garage in the summertime, 120, 130, 140 degrees in an attic, even hotter. This stuff can lose its potency. It can go bad. So it's supposed to be stored at pretty moderate temperatures in order to stay good. And frankly, I'm looking, and other than a lot number that I see, I'm not really seeing like a any kind of date where, I mean, it's acid, right? This is sulfuric acid and something, sulfuric and something. Effective. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. This is dodecacybenzosulfonic acid and phosphoric acid. I don't know that necessarily off the top of my head whether temperatures would affect this, if it was stored either too cold or too hot. But I do know that if they left the cap off and something else got dropped into there, that would be a contaminant. And I just don't want to risk it with my, if I'm going to be drinking this stuff, which I plan to. If I'm going to be drinking it, I don't want my sanitization process to be compromised because like somebody had cats and cat hair had gotten into the bottle and contaminated the fluid. So I just bought a retail. I think this is a 32-ounce bottle, and I think it retailed $23. And I figure I was gonna get a smaller one, but then it's like, what the hell? I'm gonna be using a lot of it all the time for every single batch that I make, so I might as well go ahead and spring for the 32-ounce bottle. So that's one retail that I purchased. Some other retail stuff, like I had said, I bought this. I think it was like 99 cents or $1.25. I bought this retail. I have to be careful with my guitar. I went ahead and bought an auto siphon, retail, it's $12. And it's a bottle filler, just with a little pointy on it. Basically, this has a spring in it and a seal down here in the bottom, so that you would use some tubing, which I think is what it was, and I got two, I think 5 foot. I'm thinking that should be enough if I'm gonna have the must on a table and racking to something on the floor. I should have more than enough length between this sticking out and then the tube coming off of it and down to probably another one of these buckets. So it's a couple of dollars for 10 foot of tubing. See, and here's why you need to pay attention to what you're doing. That's for holding the auto siphon. Because I actually did purchase a small, what is this? This is freaking 8 ounces of Star Sand when I purchased this other stuff retail. And I am looking at, I don't know that I'm gonna do this, but there is a company called Bonvino. It's Italian. Anyway, they do mini jets, and I've seen them in action, and they seem kind of awesome. Essentially, it's a pump about yay big. It's pretty kind of thin, and you can see the width of what I'm doing. So it's kind of thin, and about yay wide on the filter part, about yay tall, and it's got a little pump on it, and you plug the tube onto it, and you put a paper, not a paper, but it's like a mesh filter in between two plates, screw them down, and then another like I would need to use both of these. One goes into your must, the other goes into wherever your secondary racking is, and they have a couple of different filters. Actually, hey, here's a picture right there that you can see, and as you can see that, so the pump is here. You would put your tubing here, and that would go to your must, and then it has a bit of tubing that goes to the filter portion, and like I said, you clamp it in, and it goes through a crazy little design in here, pushing through the filter, and comes out this port right up here, and that would go into either your secondary. Me personally, I would put that in the secondary, only because I want to make sure that whether I need to cold shock it or use maybe a chemical clarifier or a chemical stopper to kill the yeast completely. But that's what I would want to do. I would want to make sure that my fermentation was completely done. But it comes off of here, and this can do both filtration, so it can clean it, all the must, all of the gunk won't go through the filter, and it also does clarifying. So I don't know, maybe I'm gonna look into it and see how much they are. It seems like it would be a lot faster, a lot easier, a lot cleaner than doing all this by hand. But that's really expensive. I want to say it's probably like a $70 or $80 piece of equipment. So I'm not sure that I want to buy this just yet. That's a bit expensive. when starting off. But as you can see, so we're looking at 25, maybe $30 worth of stuff retail. Yeah, $35 worth of stuff retail. Plus, we'd already said what, like $275 or something, maybe $300-ish on the equipment. Granted, I don't need all of this for a first time. Really, all I need is a brew bucket, and for me personally, I need a brew bucket and a second brew bucket for secondary fermentation, so that you can rack off into it. So 2 buckets, $40 a piece. You need all of this equipment so that you can do your measurements and your testing and do your racking and whatnot. Your star sand, you gotta have it. You're gonna use it beginning, middle, and end the whole way through, every step. Every time you're touching the equipment, every time you're doing anything with the must, you're gonna use this in all the equipment first. So definitely gotta have, you know, the star sand and the other stuffs. But I mean, realistically, at a minimum to get started, unless you buy some kit or whatever that is going to be, you know, company branded, and it as far as from what I've seen, the few kits that I've seen, they don't really have everything you need. Like I said, you want a bucket for fermentation, you want a secondary to rack off into, and because if you have 2 of them, then if you still want to rack your secondary fermentation, if you want to rack that, excuse me, if you want to rack that again, you just use the original bucket, right? You can rack back and forth until you if you're trying to, you know, do clarity or whatever, you can do that until you get it where you want it. And then, you know, from your secondary racking, you can always then bottle, right? And so I've got some of those. That's probably not enough, obviously, for if I'm going to do 5 gallons, which is what I plan to do. And I'm probably going to do bottles because I intend to make, I'm going to use Red Star, I believe, probably for my first batch. It's got an 18% alcohol tolerance. And the reason I'm going to use that is because it will make a very dry, high alcohol content mead. And then I can always back sweeten, right? I can always have some honey on reserve, and if I don't like how it turns out, or initially, I can always just go ahead and add a little bit of honey to back sweeten back to where I want it to be. So I like the idea of having nice and a high content alcohol, and yeah, back sweetening is super easy, and I'll show you how to do that in one of the videos coming up. So yeah, so like almost $300 for $50. You can't beat that deal. Seriously, you cannot beat that deal. So what's good about this is that this is going to allow me, this amount of equipment is going to allow me to do a couple of things. I'm going to be able to start off a basic, generic, no frills, water, honey, yeast, mix it all up, stick it on the shelf, let it do its thing. Again, we're going to use this room. It's normally dark in here. I still have curtains to put up in this window, as you can see, but the other window is already covered, and I will probably have it underneath my desk or off in this corner here. And what it'll allow me to do is I'll be able to start that, monitor it for a week or 2, and then I'll be able to start a secondary mead without worrying about not having enough equipment. And my second mead, I'm probably going to do a flavor, so we'll see how that turns out, and hopefully you'll be here to watch with me and learn with me. But yeah, that's what we're going to go through. So I have a lot of cleaning to do on this equipment, and like I said, today's Friday, October 4th. Tomorrow morning, I plan to go to the river market, which is just north of here, just north of downtown Kansas City. It's this huge area. It's like an entire city block that is a couple of shops, and one or two restaurants, but primarily it's this massive farmers market every weekend. Hopefully it's not too cold. Hopefully there's plenty of guys out there. But I want to say there are at least, last time I was there, it's been several months, but there are at least two groups who sell honey. So I'm hoping to find a local apiary that I can source my honey from, so that I have a consistent product, but that's local. That would be fantastic. And I'll do a short video on the honey and what I plan to do with the honey to prep it and prepping the equipment. But I'll do that after I get the honey and all of this is clean. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell so that you get notified when I have new content up. Definitely like the page. I need all the likes I can get. I'm brand new, and YouTube likes us to pimp the subscribe and the bell and the like button. So we'll see you next time. And again, like I said, next time will be honey. Why I chose what I chose. You'll see the equipment cleaned, and I'll explain what we'll be doing to prep the honey, the equipment, and the whole 9 yards for our first batch of mead. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.